Welcome to the PlayFootball.com podcast. I'm Jeff Fisher of High School Football America. Today we head to northern New Jersey to talk with Rich Hansen, the head coach of St. Peter's Prep. Coach Hansen was named the New York Giants and Gatorade Lou Rattino High School Coach of the Week for Week 3 of the 2020 season. He is the Dean of Northern New Jersey High School Football Coaches and will be hanging up his whistle after the upcoming season, his 33rd as St. Peter's head coach. Hansen owns a lifetime record of 272 wins, only 75 losses with a tie, and that places him 5th on New Jersey's all-time coaching victories list. He's also led the Marauders to 10 state championship appearances, with 5 of them ending with St. Peter's winning a state title, including last year's non-public Group 4 championship. St. Peter's is currently ranked number 10 in the High School Football America 100 national rankings, and Coach Hansen is on the PlayFootball.com hotline, and thanks for joining us, Coach.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you here. And let's kind of dial things back here a little bit. 33 years as the head coach of the Marauders. It's a long time. Take me back to the very beginning when you took over the program. What were some of the things that you kind of went into the job with that were kind of going to be your thumbprint, the building of the foundation, that actually have carried through for 3 decades, and you're still using bits and pieces of that today? Are there one or two things that you can point to that made this such a great run?
Well, St. Peter's was king of the hill here for a long time. And from, I guess, 1965 to 1982, the best record school had was 5-4. And it was difficult. And I came here as an assistant after the 82 season as defense coordinator and strength coach. And I think the biggest thing that I focused on was just our toughness. We weren't very tough physically or mentally, and we weren't very disciplined. And I think that I was here 5 years as a coordinator, and we made progress every year. And I think the toughness part of this that we tried to instill is something that has persevered through the 33 years as head coach. So, our kids understand what going to work every day is. They understand the grind. I like to say we're a blue-collar kind of program, and I think that our kids appreciate that, and they embrace it, and they know that that's one of the components of being really successful. So successful in football now, but hopefully down the road for them in life. And
tell me a little bit about your approach to, the kids through the years. Athletes are still athletes, right? But things change a little bit, and we know coaches now have many different hats aside from the X's and O's. What are some of the things that you've, it puts a smile on your face when you think back through the years of how you've been able to help kids? And what's your general message about what the game of football does for kids? Just like you said, after the hitting is done and the games are done and the wins and losses are done, what are some of those things that you really preach to your kids about?
Well, you know what? And people have played the game, and you understand this. There's nothing like the game of football. It takes so much belief and so much camaraderie and so much synchronization to get it right and to be successful. And to do that, it takes a lot of work. So. I always tell our kids, use football as a platform to get someplace that maybe otherwise you would not be able to get to. Whether that's the university that maybe you couldn't have gotten to without football, or someplace in the workforce, or whatever it is. And I think that it holds true. Kids, the greatest satisfaction is in talking to my players, 15, 20 years after they graduate, and or getting cards from them, or being at one of their weddings, and they're like, Coach, the stuff that we learned back then, I still use today. Mm-hmm. I have one of my former captains is a police chief in our area, and he's told me on more than one occasion, Coach, I use everything. I use everything that you taught me in football. And when you hear that, it's kind of, gratifying and gives you some satisfaction. It also creates a little bit of a sense of urgency in what you're doing every day, because you know that it transcends football. So those are the things I'll always believe in, and hopefully I'm staying on here as athletic director, so I'll still have my hands on players, and and still have my nose in the game a little bit. And hopefully I can stay in contact from that perspective.
Yeah, you can take the coach out of the game, but not the game out of the coach, I guess is the best way to put it. St. Peter's Prep head coach Rich Hansen on the line, 33 years with the Marauders. And, I've had some of your colleagues on here through the years. And, I'm so proud of being from the area I'm in. And like I said, I didn't grow up in northern New Jersey, but know enough about what you were talking about there, the physicality of it all, the toughness, meeting people twice in the same year, right? You got to beat each other a couple of times to win titles. But you know what I haven't asked any of these guys, and I want to ask you this because I know this personally through a lot of the athletes that have gone through the great schools there in your league is, you guys win a lot of football games. Yes, there's been national championships in the past, but the academic side of what you guys go through, I mean, it's nothing short of a college program. And I was wondering if you could take a few minutes here to talk about the rigors, not only at St. Peter's Prep, but your brethren there that you love to hate on Saturdays or Fridays, but you guys all get along pretty well after those days. So talk a little bit about the academic side of the conference there and these great programs in that conference.
Well, and speaking about our school, we're a Jesuit school, and I think that the days of being a great football player and going to college without that academic rigor behind you are long gone. You just won't be eligible, and colleges can't afford to keep great athletes who don't go to class and don't get it and on the academic side of things. So for me, football is kind of an extension of our school. We have a great academic situation here. It's a very disciplined environment. And our guys, by and large, do so well at the next level, not just in football, but academically. They achieve because they're used to the grind and they're used to doing the work in the classroom. I always tell our kids, and eighth graders that are trying to come, I said, listen, you can score 6 touchdowns on Friday night or Saturday afternoon, but on Monday, your teacher's going to be standing in the door of the classroom. She'll put her arm around you and say, great game, and then her hand will be out, where's your homework? Because they understand the importance of both ends of this. And I think that's something that transcends St. Peter's and goes to the rest of the schools in our league and our division that really, really are disciplined places and emphasize that aspect of it. And I think that it's reflective in the style of play in our league and the success of our players beyond high school.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Rich Hansen on the line, St. Peter's Prep. Coach, when you started there as the DC and, they handed you the coach's book, I don't think there was a chapter in there on COVID-19, obviously. I was just curious a little bit about how the old guy there, 33 years at the helm, adapted, and what were some of the things that you did to keep the kids ready for the very long wait until you guys finally started the first weekend of October. What were some of the things you guys did there to keep the kids, A, safe, obviously, but B, ready to play football?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed everything, to be honest with you. And we spent so much time in that lockdown, those 5.5 months of lockdown, just trying to keep the kids' heads, positive. They were, it was great in the beginning. I think, hey, we got some time off of school, and everybody thought we'd be back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And when it went to 2 or 3 months, I think it started to get to me because I could hear it in the kids' voices on our Zoom meetings that they were starting to get weary of it and they were starting to get scared. So, the biggest thing I think was to keep them positive. And fortunately for me, I'm president of our league, and Super Bowl Conference is the largest football conference in the country. I'm also on our state committee, so I had my hands involved in the return to athletics portion of this. So I was able to keep them going with viable information. And I'll be honest with you, if you would have asked me in April if we were going to play football games in September or October, I would have been very, very pessimistic on it. So I got to give credit to our state association. They've done a great job, and our coaches association and the Super Conference. We came back and in very, very small steps and very restrictive phases. And we've taken every precaution humanly possible, from fogging guns, electrostatic machines, UV machines. We've rotated our players so that we keep the numbers in the building down to a legal, manageable number. Kids are wearing stuff that's washed every day. Everybody's been given their own personal water bottle, their own personal spray bottle of ClearGuard. It's just been an unbelievable thing to watch, because no matter what you do, we screen, we're health screening every day, and temp checks every day, and kids are registering in, and everybody's wearing face coverings, and everybody's socially distant. You can do all those things and still wind up with a case. We haven't, knock wood. We've been very, very fortunate, and I put that on the kids. They've been excellent in following, instructions, and it is what it is. It's been a tough environment to keep kids going in, but I think everybody's so grateful to play football, get some sense of normalcy back, and hopefully we can continue on that path and not have to shut down like so many places have.
Absolutely. A couple of questions before we go away here. One of them, Coach, is I mentioned fifth in the state of New Jersey. That's nothing to sneeze about when it comes to W's, but no one does it alone, obviously, and I'm sure being there for a while, you've got some guys that have been by your side for a while. I just want to give you a little opportunity there to talk about your staff and what they've meant to you personally and to the program and the sports community there at St. Peter's.
Thank you. No, it's important. I'm sure every coach in the country is able to say the same thing. But my guys have been so loyal and so faithful, not just to me, but to our school. My son has run the defense. He's going to take over as the new head coach when this thing ends for me. He's been in the school 15 years, and he played here, so he bleeds this place. Our defense has been so strong for so long, and he's done a great job of it. My offensive coordinator has been here for 7 years now. It's Ryan O'Flaherty, does a phenomenal job. And we have some guys who are former head coaches, and Ed Sadlock and Bill Johnson. And we have, Joe Rotundi, my line coach, has been a head coach and experienced tons of success. J.J. Neswat, Najir Oliver played for me here. John Fannin and Greg Ficcaro, and we have two NFL guys who have great experience, and they're really good voices of wisdom, and Roman Oben and Javon Parker. So I really do have a great staff, guys who bleed football, have a passion for ball, and love our kids in our school. So when you can put that together and put it on the field, and you feel good about going to war every week, football war every week with these guys.
Yeah, and you kind of jumped ahead on one of the questions there, which was the young man that's going to take over the reins, step into Dad's big shoes. I had the pleasure when I lived in the Lehigh Valley to know Mike Pettin Sr., God rest his soul, and young Mike back in the day, and that was interesting to see that from the inside, how those two work. So you're stepping aside from the head coaching position. You're going to still be the AD there. Tell me a little bit about that. Could make for good Thanksgiving dinner talk.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's honestly, it's time. I just felt like, physically I could go for 10 more years. I feel great. I just felt like it was time, and in fairness to my son and the staff who will be remaining, that, somebody else needs to drive the bus a little bit here too. And I've taken it as far as I've wanted to take it. It's exceeded my dreams. The guys are just great guys. The school's a great school, and I want to be able to give to my other sports. Like I think I've given to football, and he's certainly ready. He's I think part of your job as a head coach is to prepare guys in your staff to be head coaches if they choose to, and so I've carried it on that way in my mind. I've given them a lot of responsibility. I hopefully have prepared him for what's coming, although you never fully prepared until you're in it. So he's going to have some surprises, but like I did. But I think he'll do a great job. And my office is going to stay 2 doors away from him. So if I get a knock, I'll answer. But I'm certainly not going to be looking over his shoulder. He's going to have to do things his way, and I'm sure some of that is going to be very different than I've done it. But that's the beauty of the game, and that's the beauty of being a head coach. You get to sit in the seat and call the shots the way you want them called, but you're also going to take the bullets. So everybody has that balance that they look to get to, and I'm sure he'll be great at it.
Yeah, we're talking with Rich Hansen, St. Peter's Prep, going out after 33 years, looking to go out on top. And just to wrap up with, you mentioned Roman Oben, and he's highly involved with the NFL in getting the message out and keeping participation up at the youth and the high school level. And was pleased to hear from him that you were named the Giants Coach of the Week. And I know you're probably going to deflect on that, but how's it feel to get that recognition from the top?
Well, you know why it's special. The award is named after Lou Ritino, and Lou Ritino is a great head coach here in New Jersey, but he's also a head coach here at St. Peter's for 2 years. And I mentioned earlier that one season they were 5-4, was their best record in a ton of years, and Lou was the head coach of that team, and he was a good mentor to me. Went on to fame at Union High School, but I knew what he was. And I knew what he stood for, and so to get an award in his name again is just a great honor, and he'll always hold a special place in my heart, and certainly here at St. Peter's. So that's why it's a special award. I love the Giants. I'm really appreciative of it. But the fact that it's named after Lou Ritino makes it that much more special.
Yeah, makes sense. And what's it like for you to watch? Probably, when people talk St. Peter's, maybe one of the your most famous players. Since everybody's now looking at recruiting and 5 stars and 4 stars and 3 stars, is Minkah Fitzpatrick. I was just wondering what it's like to watch Minkah and some of the other guys play at the next level. Of course, Minkah's playing on Sundays, which makes it that much more special, obviously.
Oh, no question. You've probably talked or read about, Minkah's just such a special guy. He was a special player here. The greatest singular focus I've ever seen in a football player was Minkah Fitzpatrick. And he's just a generous guy. He's never forgotten where he's come from. We hold him dear here. And I'm a Steelers fan. I'll be honest with you. So even more so, he's my second player to play for the Steelers. So there's a tie there. And
yeah.
Mink's just a great player, but beyond being a great player, he's just a great person. So we're really, really proud of him, obviously.
And then last question going away, and I'm not trying to get all Oprah on you or make it sound like it's a eulogy, but let's fast forward 10 years from now, 15 years from now. You're sitting in a restaurant there, you're in the corner, and some of your old players are sitting over there, and you just they don't know you're there. But what would you love to hear them say about Coach? What would put a smile on your face? How would they present Coach Rich Hansen in a scenario where they're just kind of talking about what you've done for them, and you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but what would you like to hear out of their description of you?
I think every coach would probably want the same thing. I would really love to hear that they felt I cared about them, and that they felt that I did the right thing by them, whether it be telling them the truth when they didn't want to hear the truth, or helping them get into a school or a family issue or a social issue or whatever it be. I think that's the goal of. I stayed in high school because I wanted to develop those kind of relationships with my players, and hopefully I've been able to do that, and I'm going to continue to do it in a different role, but I think that would be the thing I would love to hear.
In recognition of Coach Hansen's selection as Coach of the Week, a $2,000 check will be given to the St. Peter's football program from the Giants Foundation and Gatorade, and he'll also receive a certificate of recognition signed by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and Giants head coach Joe Judge. This has been the PlayFootball.com podcast, and I'm Jeff Fisher. Make sure to go to PlayFootball.com to learn more about the values of the game of football, both on and off the field.